Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Unblocking podcast. Today I've got Kavi. Is that how I pronounce your name?
Yeah, perfect.
Kavi, can you just tell me a little bit about where you're at, what your story is, and what you're feeling blocked on?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so essentially, I'm 27. When I got out of college, like a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, I instantly joined the startup, like with a group of friends from uni as well. And for the last 4 years, I've been really like on the hustle mode. So it was really like VC backed. We raised some money in the States, even though we're mostly like based in Portugal. And it was a seriously like super intense experience. I felt like I invested a lot of like my being into it, uh, and I put a lot of things on the side, like but like from my personal life. And for the last 4 years, that was essentially like my main like drive. And so the project kind of failed. I left around like January this year, and like in March, like the project essentially like ran its course and finished, and the business was closed. And right now, so essentially like 1 or 2 years into the project, I was like, okay, this is being like really intense. I want to see it through, but at the same time, by the end of this project, I really want to take some time off to think a bit more with myself and like stay a bit just with me. And right now I'm experiencing that period. So I put some money on the side. Right now I'm just like existing, running my own projects online, like doing a lot of tweeting, a lot of thinking, like meeting a lot of people, and like trying to find out who I am without like outside of like career and project and ambitions. Uh, and I'm working on that. What do I feel stuck on essentially? I feel like my relationship with work is a bit weird. Not weird, but in the sense that I feel like I'm very blessed with some of the people that I have around me, and they have a really interesting like work-life balance in the sense that they were able to like align the work that they have with a deeper meaning in the sense. And I would love to be able to achieve that, but I'm not entirely like sure how or how to proceed or like what experiments to make to bring me closer to that. And so just like a few rants, I feel like I got a bit pulled into like the indie hacker hacking ecosphere on Twitter because like the premise of it is really interesting and enticing, but at the same time, uh, I feel like it's a bit
It's a really bad
philosophy.
idea. It's
Yeah,
just a really
it's
bad idea.
soulless. It's
It's
soulless.
like
Okay.
indie hacking. Like it reminds me a little bit of. It's like even worse than just like living alone in the suburbs with your family because at least you have your family, right? It's like if you think the nuclear family is a bad idea, imagine thinking that indie hacking could possibly be a good idea. It's like take the nuclear family one step further. Yeah, rather than having your own family in the suburbs, what if you went out to the suburbs, you bought a very large house, and then you just lived there alone with
Alone.
nobody for the rest of your life? That's
Hmm.
like that's how these people want you to run your career. It's just insane. Who would ever run their career this way?
Yeah.
It's a completely inhumane way to run a career.
Okay, but how about like even in the indie hacking sphere, like is your argument only that you shouldn't do it alone? Because like there's people okay, okay, you need a team. You need a team to like who aligns on you and who pulls the best out of you.
Like
That's
you should
also
have a
kind of
career. Yeah, career is a community. Like a career is a network. A career is like a group of people who go through life together.
yeah.
If you just like a family, just like a group of friends, and if you try to do all that stuff alone, you're first of all going to feel alone, and you're going to have all the problems of being alone, which is like you're not good at everything, you have a bunch of weaknesses, you have bad days, you get depressed. Like there's a million reasons why being alone is impossible for us. We're like incredibly social animals.
Yeah.
There's a couple really weird people out there who can just like completely work alone and spend all day alone. And that's true in every field. It's like autodidacts are about 1% or less of the population, for instance. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, well, if I was really serious about educating myself, I would just be studying in my free time. And it's like, that's just not how people learn. It's factually not how people learn. It's not something that is a personal failing of anybody if they can't be an autodidact. There's no such thing as like the average autodidact because the vast majority of people just don't succeed at that for very obvious reasons, right? It's like, I don't know. It's like wanting to be a solo parent because like somebody convinced you of the indie parenting lifestyle. It's like I guess that's fine. It just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway,
No, no,
that's
that,
that's kind of outside of the context of coaching. That's just like my personal rant on
no, no, no,
indie
no.
hacking
That was
generally. But
perfect. That was
yeah,
perfect because I kind of like got into the same realization like 1 or 2 months into like, okay, I'm gonna develop like businesses online. 1 or 2 months, I very quickly realized like after spending 4 years with like a very driven team, like surrounded by very intelligent people that pulled the best out of me, and sometimes the worst, but whatever. I
sure.
came to that I came to that realization that okay, like I work way better as a team. But the second realization shortly after that one was uh, so my immediate answer of oh I need people around me was okay I have really solid in real life friends like it's a really strong relationship, and so I try to pull them into like hey should we start something online, who's interested who's not, and that wasn't a good mix because I don't know we weren't like invested in the project to the same degree. It
Yeah,
was like
people weren't
understandable.
working 60 hours a week or 70
Yeah,
hours a
and
week or like whatever's necessary to bootstrap a business.
and even more than that, like work methodologies, like we didn't really click on the builder
Yeah,
level,
yeah,
and so it made me realize okay, and I started thinking like I pulled the people who I thought were like who I in my life who I thought were most plausible to succeed, that were relatively close, and so it made me realize okay I don't think I don't think my in real life. It's not that they're not the suitable contenders for like these alignments that I'm looking for about like community and work. But at the same time, it kind of feels like it would require some education on my part, uh, which I'm always like available to. But at the same time, I don't know if like should I like spend time trying to educate and spread the thing. It's not really education that I'm looking for, right? It's like inspiration.
yeah.
And so maybe
I mean,
the
there's a
people
few
who,
things that we can talk about now. Like,
yeah,
are you pretty confident that you want to be entrepreneurial in the first place, or not even that?
that's a great question. Uh, I love the problem solving aspect of it and the freedom to be able to like pursue my own curiosity, and entrepreneurship kind of offers that. The amount of intensity and stress and business decisions that come alongside with it sometimes brings me a lot of anxiety that I'm not absolutely sure matches my own persona, but I think I definitely would like to experiment more with it, especially being on a more like decision maker level, before I throw it off.
Okay, there's a few things that are just kind of worth mentioning that at
Okay,
the top of head, so that we can get some mental models. Like,
please.
my opinion is a career is about selling things and selling things to society generally. And what do we mean by society? It's like typically not our friends, because like we tend not to want to sell stuff to our friends because they're our friends. I mean, you might, once you have a business, sell some stuff to your friends, sure. But really, like you want to be able to gift things to your friends. It's the whole point. And so you kind of want to do your career and do your business with society, just at large. And again, there's no, like friends are part of society and other people are part of society, but the idea is like your target. It's like career is A, about your relationship with society and like what you want to do with it. And then it's also B, and like the market, I guess you could say. But it's just worth noting that the market is a manifestation of a lot of different people's desires and their values and what they want. And then B, specifically, it's going to be the parts of society who want to pay for the things that you can give them, right? Inevitably, it's going to have to be the people who can pay. And then it is about selling things to those people. So, and that's just career. That's not entrepreneurship. That's career. So if you are a software engineer, you have decided that you want to sell knowledge work and engineering to businesses who can use that engineering in order to make money. So they give you leverage. They act as a kind of prosthetic. device. So rather than needing to do anything at all, I don't need to sell, I don't need to talk to people, I don't need to make friends, I don't need to farm, I don't need to collect and harvest, I don't need to bring things to market. All I have to do is sit in the chair and think about these coding problems. And I get to do that all day. And that's what I sell. I sell the fact that I will be the guy who does that all day. So if that's the thing you want to sell, then you should be a software engineer. The reason is because, like, realistically, selling your own software is going to involve a lot of stuff that aren't the process of sitting there and solving all these coding problems. Mostly not that stuff. And then you're like, oh, like, do you want to be the guy who sells software, or do you want to be the guy who sells engineering, if that makes sense? If you want to sell software, then you maybe want to be an engineer or an entrepreneur, because I think being a salesman in the software industry is a little bit like, I don't know, you can do it for a bit to bootstrap, but like once you're really good at that, you might as well just start your own business, right? But if you don't want to sell software and you just want to sell engineering, you want to be an engineer. This is not about you necessarily. I'm just trying to establish some shared language here. Within that context, and then by the way, one thing that happens is when people start to realize that like their career is about selling things to society, sometimes they're like, wait, I don't want to sell anything. Like that's just not what I want. And then it's sort of like, oh, well, that's another different thing to talk about. Like, you know, some people just actually don't want to have a career in the first place. They want to be doing something else. So just kind of in this frame of things that you want to sell or want to give to society and want them to pay you for, is there anything, or does this all just feel like a chore and actually you want to like be doing something else? I'm curious.
Hmm. It doesn't feel like a chore. I definitely like the sell. Like I don't really care about the selling aspect, to be honest. I want to
Yeah.
build cool stuff. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of the realization that I feel like is about building cool stuff that people like extract value from. And like if I can sell it and like improve my own life, that would be great. But I'm pretty sure like in a hypothetical world where like everyone has like uh basic income, I would still be like doing my projects. When I was a child, like I learned to code precisely to build my own shit, and I had like a ton of fun with it. Uh, and so that's
So for
essentially
you,
how.
it's about like, yeah, it's like you basically want to be building stuff all the time. You
Yeah,
want to build cool stuff.
yeah. Uh,
And do you know what is cool? Do you have lots of ideas of what is cool?
I do have like like before we get there, let me just like ask another answer another question that you posed, which is I'm not like software to me is like a means to an end. What I really care is about like the end goal. Like selling engineering work for me is like okay, like I code because it's the closest thing I have to a superpower, but it's like the end result that really empowers
And
me.
what's the end result?
Yeah, that's a great question. What's cool, right?
Hmm.
That's a great question. I always feel like to me, what's cool, it's what like captivates my curiosity, and that always like relates um to like issues that I find relevant in my own life. Uh, And to answer like super honestly, I haven't like I've been working on projects that I found are interesting, but aren't like and solve viable problems that I feel like should be solved. But at the same time, I'm not like incredibly fucking passionate about like the process of building it because I believe in the problems. It's still like pushing me through, and I really want to like finish the project, but they're not like uh revolutionary of like they don't like shake my world to like the point of like yeah. I'll give you some examples. So like the latest project that I work is what I'm working on right now with that team that's we're not a great fit, but we're still working together. Is like an automation tool for like finding a house in the Netherlands, very specific to the Netherlands because I used to live there, and like I know that the process is very tiresome, and so it's like it automates like a bunch of stuff that I think the market should have, and none of the competition like was really having. So like I'm just building that, a lot of automation, a bit of AI, not that much, but like a lot of web crawling, a lot of automations around that. Like before that, I built and this wasn't even monetizable. I just wanted this for myself, but just like a random a random activity generator for when I was bored at home. Just like I would set some parameters and it would recommend me an activity based on like my history of what I liked, I didn't like, stuff like this. Yeah, these are like just small projects that I found like interesting enough to like sink my teeth into. At the same time, they weren't like wow, like this is it. Like for example, Sheik, like we have that friend in common. I don't know if like we should mention
Yeah.
him in the podcast, but it's fine, I think. Like I really envy how like passionate he is about, and I know that he also struggles to find a niche that he feels like really like motivates him. But right now, when I talk to him, he feels so like motivated. He feels like he's really driven like about the project he's working on, and I feel like I haven't like found that. Uh, yeah.
Do you have like any some just things to know? Like, how much runway do you have? Do you have any financial scarcity right now,
Yeah.
or do
So
you like need to make money?
until the end of the year, like I can like
Yeah,
uh, I'm not financially scarce. I could like keep the experiment going for a while, but like it would drain my financials to a point where I'm not super entirely comfortable. So like the
yeah.
agreement that I did with myself is I'm gonna take this year. Half has already spent. Until the end of the year, I'm fine with not having a job. If I don't like, it's not looking like, but we'll never know. But if I don't have any like financial upside, or like if I'm not confident in my ability to make money without a job, I'll probably get a job beginning next year, which doesn't need to be bad. But yeah, like I want to go until the end of the year without having anything, and if this doesn't prove to be rentable in the long term, I'll try to find something. Uh, Trying to find something doesn't like. Sorry if I'm interrupting or talking too
No,
much,
no,
but
go ahead.
okay. Uh, Finding a job, to be honest, like in the beginning of the year was really like, no, I really don't want to. I really want to do my own thing. Right now, I'm kind of switching to finding a job might not be as bad, like even if it's corporate. But I feel like I would be really, really fulfilled if I'm somehow able to like align my own objectives with the jobs that I want. And doing that job hunting seems like a really, really hard task. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, that's good to dig into. Why you like don't have the right background or degrees, or like you just feel like people are going to pass you up
No,
for
I
certain
think
reasons?
like I think getting a job shouldn't be too hard for me. Like I
Hmm.
have an interesting enough like experience. Like I know my shit especially about software. I don't think that should be too hard. But in my last company, the only motivation like in the period of the 4 years, like sure the product was cool, sure like working with the people was pretty cool, but the motivation is like I don't really care about the problem that we're solving. It's an interesting enough problem for me to work in, but I don't really like care as much about it. The motivation was I really want to build a startup that grows hugely, and I want to have money and be able to say that I did something as ambitious and as big as this. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's not I feel like that's kind of like a superficial thing to live by, you know? I would love something to like, okay, this problem is big enough. I really want this problem to be solved for the sake of like the problem itself fascinates me and draws me to like overcome it. I don't know.
Well, the company ended up failing, right?
Yeah.
I guess like yeah, like I agree. Like if you were working on a sports gambling startup, then it would be superficial to just like want to make the most amount of money and just succeed. But I also think like most startups are solving real problems. And so the idea that you just like want to make a lot of money by solving any real problem at all that a lot of people face, it's like you are allowed to, I mean, believing in the thing that you're doing matters, but you're allowed to just use the money itself as the signal of the value. You don't need to like invent, you don't need to invent your own concept of value in order to trust that you're providing value. You can just use the money. On the other hand, I think you should like add a couple more checks to that. Again, like sports gambling, clearly an example. Like you can make money off of externalities. You can make money by polluting the commons. You can make money by rent seeking. So it's true that you can make money in all these bad ways, but I just want to double. I just want to like be the voice that's like, hey, it's okay to just want to get rich because getting rich means that you are adding if you want. That
Mm.
that perspective is also fine to hold. It's not like an evil perspective. It's not going to like hurt you or something. Um, I agree though that like I personally am drawn to work that I think is unique in the sense that I don't think anyone else would ever stumble across it or anybody else would ever do it. It's just you add a lot of restrictions to your career that way. Um, that that can be fun to work with if you want. Oh man, there's so much to dig into here. Unfortunately, it's really sad that I should make these 1 hour instead of 30 minutes. Um, it's a change for the next generation. There's no good intervention points that I can like really tug on in 2 minutes now, but like the right questions to journal about for you and to talk to people about are like, why did the startup fail? Why aren't I making money right now? Why am I building something and not selling it? Like these, like really not in a way, don't beat yourself in the head with those questions. Like it's not, I'm not saying use those questions as a tool to be mean to yourself. It's like, no, literally
Mm-hmm.
like actually answer them until you get to the answer. And then one day you'll have the answer will click. It's like, oh shit. The reason I keep building stuff that is not making money is because X. Like
X-Body.
that's what's happening. I like fully know. And like don't settle with like a surface level question of like, oh well, it's because I'm an engineer and like I just feel like I'll build first and it will come. It's like don't cliche yourself, right? There is some reason that you're failing at business. And it's it's like it's probably a good reason. It's probably like a reason where once you stumble on the reason, you're like, oh, like that makes so much sense. Like now it explains everything, and I can just choose that if I want. Like I can keep failing at business if I want because like actually that's a good reason. Or now that I know the reason and I have it in hand, I can decide to somehow satisfy that some other way so that I can also add in a bunch more like traditionally successful business stuff into my process. Um, and anyway, that's like roughly where I would go from here. So I'd like journal on that or talk to some more mentors about that or whatever. Also, just aside, like you and I are friends and we're connecting through the network. So like I'm happy to talk to you in a longer format. I just have to jump to get to another call
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
after
no problem.
this. Oh man, there's a lot of other stuff. It's like I can just tell like you have 5 or 10 hours of unpacking your relationship with business and work and money, like unpacking it not because you're traumatized but because like you don't have complete clarity on why you do what you do right now, and if
Mm,
you did, all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, I can pivot. Like I know exactly. It feels like you're trying to navigate your career using like very blunt changes and very blunt instruments, but actually since you are your career, you can take a scalpel to it and know like exactly why you're doing what you're doing, exactly why your days go the way they go, exactly why your team dynamics are the way they are, why your leadership style is the way it is. All these things can be known with precision and clarity until they like fully click and you're like, whoa, I know exactly who I am. I know exactly who I am as a leader. I know exactly who I am as an engineer. I know what my desires are. I think just like having faith that like you can get to that within 10 hours of like serious introspective work if you just prioritize that, and
mm.
also um, and like work with coaches as well if you're feeling stuck or blocked, because like there will be things where you don't know how to ask the right question inevitably, and in that case like find a coach or text me if you can't find anyone. um, and then yeah, and then prioritizing that and realizing that like it's actually more important for me to know what the fuck is going on than like that I shipped this next feature this week or whatever. Like I need to know,
Yeah,
I need to debug this system before I continue to build for the next 8 months or whatever. I
what a
think would
point.
be like these are all of the next steps I would consider.
Great
Hopefully some
point.
of that is helpful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, sorry for
Yeah.
being late. That was really helpful.
No,
I'll do
no
exactly
problem at
that.
all.
I'll do exactly that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye, dude.
Have fun.